Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. Half-brothers threatened to sue me over $16,000. It cost them $158,000 and possibly their parents' marriage. When I, 25 female, was 3, my grandparents passed away. They set up a savings account in my name. The account was meant to be accessed by me when I was 21. At that point, it contained just over $300,000. My grandparents left me a letter saying they would like me to share the money fairly with any other Smith Jones children, meaning my full siblings. Dad's a Smith and Mom's a Jones. But fairly they meant that they wanted me to assess the situation and judge for myself what was fair. I never had full siblings, but I have 2 half-brothers, Mac and Joe Smith, who are dad and stepmom's kids. Due to the specific wording my grandparents used, I legally never had to give Mac or Joe any money. However, I see Mac and Joe as my brothers, and as the money came from our grandparents, I felt that the fairest thing would be to assign each of us $100,000. So we all got an equal-sized lump sum, and I figured that when Mac, the youngest, turned 21 and took his $100,000, we could split any remaining money. When I turned 21, Dad suggested that I buy a house with my $100,000. I found a place I loved, but it was $130,000, and I couldn't get a mortgage. So Dad said I should borrow $30,000 from the account. So I did, figuring I could pay back before my brothers turned 21. And I have been repaying it. The account should be at $208,000 right now, but due to me withdrawing and then repaying that money, it is at $195,000, so I still owe $13,000. Joe turned 21 recently, and as I was giving him his $100,000, Joe noticed that there was less in the account than there should be. I explained and said that I was going to put it all back before Mac, now 19, turns 21. Joe told Mac and both boys said I stole from them and owed them the full 13 back, plus $3,000 of interest that they felt like they would have gotten. And they wanted it all paid by this summer, which gave me less than 6 months to bring the account up to $211,000. I said I'd do it, but over 2 years as planned. The boys then wrote a contract to that effect. I went to sign it until I saw that it said 6 months to pay it all back. I wouldn't sign as we agreed on 2 years. They said I should figure it out as they were entitled to that money and would be seeking legal advice. Later that day I got an email, clearly written by them, saying that they intend to sue me for the $16,000, plus whatever is currently in the account, and additional damages and emotional distress on top of that. At this point, I'd given Joe about $50,000 of his $100,000, because he wanted it in installments. I responded that legally they were never entitled to anything, and given their attitudes, I'd say they have already received an amount I deem fair, so that $50,000 was all they were going to get. I then got a barrage of texts and calls and emails yelling at me for going back on our deal. I blocked them. They then took to social media saying that I was trying to screw them out of their inheritance and rallying our extended family into harassing me over this. And it mostly worked as a lot of people messaged me. However, I got a message from this guy called Chris Smith. Chris said he was 27 and claimed to be my half-brother. I had never met him before, but he sent me photos of him as a kid with our dad, grandparents and me. He showed me that he also had an account with $150,000 in it, and a scan of a letter from our grandparents saying this money was meant to be shared fairly among Dad's illegitimate children. Chris also told me we have another half-sibling, who is 18. He'd been looking for me for a while, but only found me when Dad shared Joe's post, which had me tagged. We checked with the solicitor to make sure, and as the boys are legitimate, they aren't entitled to anything in Chris's illegitimate kid fund. And as they are my half-siblings, they are not entitled to anything in my Smith Jones kids funds. I sent the boys a letter formally telling them to back off, stop posting about me online, and enjoy the $50K because it's all they are going to get. The day they received the letter, Chris got a PM from Dad, asking if the boys can have some Chris fund. Chris also said no, and told Dad we'd met. I told Mac and Joe about Chris and our other half-sibling, with Chris's permission. So it looks like my grandparents, knowing about Chris before they passed, set up two funds. One for the kids Dad had with my mother, who was still his wife when they passed, and one for the children born out my dad's affair. Presumably to make sure no one tried to screw anyone else over out of hurt feelings. I'm getting a lot of crap, but holding firm on my decision. The boys have realized that I won't back down on this, and it sounds like I've caused a schism at their house, as Joe has all the money and no intention of sharing, so Mac is now feeling twice as screwed. My stepmom apparently did not know about the other half-siblings, or that my half-sister was born after she and Dad got married, and she's made Dad move into a hotel. It sounds like Dad is looking for a long-term living arrangement outside of the family home, because it looks like she's not letting him move back in. Dad is begging me to reconsider, but honestly I'm done with all of them except Chris and my sister. Next story. Karen wants guac. This happened to me about 2 years ago, but a former co-worker just reminded me about it, and I'm pretty sure it counts as a malicious compliance. I'll try and keep it short, but it's a little long. I used to be a service manager at one of the biggest locations of a popular Mexican grill. I won't say which, but guac was $1.95 extra, and we were required to ask everyone if they were okay paying that price. One Sunday morning, our second busiest shift of the week, two of my line people called out, so we were struggling to get all of our prep done before opening at 11. We were just wrapping up when it comes Karen 10 minutes before opening through the side door, marked employees only with 15 preteen girls in tow. My cook recognizes her as she regularly comes in during the dinner shift and is extremely abusive and cruel to all the Latino workers. Karen tells me they can order whatever they want, throws her credit card at me and goes to sit down at a table and doodle on her phone. Now I can't ring up her order without her standing there because of the company rules, and I'm 30 weeks pregnant and just want to take my break. I waddled over to Karen's table to try and inform her of that, when she literally flicks her hand at me to dismiss me. Not only have I been at this store since 7 and done 2 different people's jobs on top of my own, I have my son's head grinding against my pelvic bones and kicking me like crazy. I'm in no mood. When I try to tell her again, she looks at me with what I can only describe as seething contempt, and she says,
"What part of them can get whatever they want that you don't understand? I don't care what you charge me as long as I get a receipt. Do not interrupt me again or I will get your fat butt fired."
Now I never cry, but that almost got me. Motherhood is awesome, but pregnancy sucks. I finally managed to pick my jaw off the ground and stammer, "Alright ma'am, I'll ring up whatever they want and bring you a receipt." The girls were really nice and most of them ordered double meat and they all got bottled water and chips and guac. Every last one. My cashier and I are just vibrating with glee as we ring them up and watch the bill climb up to like $250. I brought the bill to Karen and was pretty excited when she didn't immediately check it. I made my own food and told the cook to come get me when the show starts. I'm halfway done eating when I see him waving to the camera. Howling with laughter, so I hid up. Karen is foaming at the mouth, screaming for the manager. And when she sees that the manager is me, she literally grinds her teeth and slaps her receipt on the table. She manages to choke out the word refund. The girls have all pretty much finished their food, so I inform her that I won't be doing that because I would lose my job for giving away that much critical inventory. Meat, guac, cheese for free. Then I gently remind her that she told me twice that they could get anything as long as she got a receipt. She just keeps demanding a refund and calling me stupid and fat. Again, I'm pregnant. At this point, her screaming is holding up the very long line and customers are shouting at her to just leave. And that's when she pushed me. Freaking hard. My cashier caught me so I didn't fall down, but two of our regulars, who are police, see it and immediately cuff her. In this state, any use of physical force against a pregnant woman is classified as aggravated battery or something like this. I felt bad for the kids and I was fine. So I kept telling them I didn't want to press charges, but they said that at this point, it didn't really matter. Because the woman had done it in front of an on-duty officers, so she got arrested. They had to call the kids' parents to come get them because she was their church's youth leader and get statements. My general manager came in and let me go home with a full day's pay. She tried to take the case to trial, but they had video and like 20 witness statements, so she ended up taking a couple of years probation or something. All because I did exactly what she told me to do. What an idiot. Next story. Girls shouldn't win math competitions, so my son should win. I'm a high school student and this happened to me in 9th grade. My teacher decided that I should compete in a math competition because she saw potential in me. I agree because she was my favorite teacher. I did not really care that much because I was kinda lazy at that time. On the day of the competition, I saw a kid, let's call him the entitled kid, posting about how he didn't sleep because he reviewed everything. I was annoyed, but I didn't really think much about it. The results came. Sure enough, he won. But I got second place. I was shocked and happy at the same time, and so was my teacher. Everything was all sunshine and rainbows until I heard this lady.
Good thing that girl didn't win.
I was only 2 points behind.
This is a math competition. My boy should win. He studied really hard for this and a girl shouldn't beat him anyways.
I was livid. My teacher patted my back and told me to not listen to her. When they announced that I was in second place, the entitled mother started booing. This woman, I just couldn't take it. So I devised a plan. This competition happened every year according to my teacher. And in grade 10, there was a regional competition after. I swore that I had to win next year. The whole year I taught myself various math equations, and my friend helped me with everything. I spent a whole year reviewing just to prove this entitled mother wrong. The next year I entered the competition more ready than ever. I saw the boy again. Now even his mother is posting about how he couldn't sleep knowing that he was going to win again, and that he's excited about the regionals. Everything she said just encouraged me to do better. The exam was kinda hard, but I managed to answer most of the test questions, while I heard the entitled kid said it wasn't that hard. I was not confident that I would win, but I was hoping. The announcement came and they said only one got a score of 40 and above in every grade level. The entitled kid was smirking, thinking it was him and telling his mom, regionals, here we go. But to his surprise, I won. The look of shock in the entitled mother and her kids' faces was worse at They didn't utter a word and his teacher was just standing there shocked. I gave them a big smirk and went off the stage, accepting the prize and everything. When I went down the stage, I saw the entitled mother crying and saying, "My boy was supposed to win. He was supposed to go to the regionals." And once I heard their cries of agony, the whole year of reviewing was paid off. I got second place in the regional, and I became friends with the guy in the first place. Overall, it was a great experience, and I'm glad that I don't have to see the entitled mom or the kid again, because there is no mass competition in grade 11. Next story. Killed a tow company with one simple call. Several years back, I went to work for a towing company. It's about all I know how to do other than paint cars, which is drastically affecting my house. The pay was pretty decent, but we had to share trucks and the boss felt that he knew where we needed to sit in order to get the best calls. This is important for later. Several months in, I realized that I was not making the type of money that I should be making. So I took the opportunity while I was sitting in a parking lot one evening to start researching the laws pertaining to employees in similar positions. He was kind of a jerk, and the trucks had transponders so that he could see if we had them idling with the air conditioner on a hot day or idling with the heat on a cool day. He was always calling complaining about something if the wheels were not turning. During my research, I discovered that if he was requiring us to sit in a certain parking lot, street, or any location of his choosing, then we were entitled to be paid an hourly wage, not just our commission. The technical term was engaged to wait. However, if he allowed us to freely roam about while we waited for calls, we were not entitled to hourly wages, and we were therefore considered waiting to be engaged. I never mentioned this to him, but I did start taking note of my time. Another month or so goes by, and he decides to start coming down on me for tiny little nonsense, things that ordinarily wouldn't even matter, such as I forgot a pop can in the cup holder, and he actually had a screaming fit about that. At this point, I was tired of working there and had already found another job, so I decided it was time to put my plan into motion. I called him up and told him that we needed to have a conversation about my final wages and that we could meet at his convenience. Upon entering the office, I laid out my argument, explained the state law, and told him I expected to be paid for the hours that I was on the clock, but not freely allowed to roam looking for work or able to do things of my choosing. He told me in no uncertain terms that I would be not paid for that time, as that was agreed to upon my employment. I did not bother to argue, as I already had my next step planned. So I took my final check and left. The following Monday, I made a phone call to the State Labor Board, where I laid out my case to them. Needless to say, they were very interested in what was going on. In the end, they came to review his employment records and speak to the driver still working. When he got the bill of what he had to pay us all, it was too much for him to afford. So he sold the trucks, his boat, and a lot and went out of business. The satisfaction of not just getting my money, but also knowing the law just a little bit better than he did, and watching it all burn was just a pure bliss. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.